Hey everyone, hope you're having a great start to your week. Thanks for joining us on an all-new episode of the American Mailbag. Alongside Andy Gresh, I'm Haley Outen. Andy, hard to believe we're 12 weeks into this show. The questions are still flowing in. Loving the increase in response throughout the course of this season.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun to be able to interact with you rubes and plebes out there and know that we thank you and love you. And I say that you're the rubes of college football with love and affection. You're not the people voting for the top 25 or the college football playoff or anything like that. But no, in all seriousness, this has been really fun. And it's interesting, Haley, week to week, to see the reactions of certain fan bases, as will be evidenced today, I'm sure.
Yeah, some real personalities, I think, have started to shine throughout the course of the season. We have some regulars now.
Meek Mill.
He participated this week,
He
so
did?
we'll get to
Good,
him. He's
Nick.
back.
Good.
Yes. But also, James Cox has been a regular on our weekly show, and he wants to know, why do his Knights struggle so much on the road versus playing at home?
I wish I had that answer. I mean, it's a great question because there is a big difference between those home and road splits. I think some of it might have been sort of how that quarterback situation was evolving. You got a freshman quarterback. You're going to have some issues on the road. I wish I had a real pinpoint, here's the problem type answer, other than when you've got some young players in key spots, maybe you can get some variance there. I also think, too, Haley, that this is hey, UCF is supposed to be undefeated every year now because they had their big, long winning streak. And I hope Knights fans have the ability to appreciate the year that they're putting together, even though it may not be a championship season.
Well, hey, how about Tulsa, though, coming up with a big win finally? Next question from the Golden Hurricast. That's awesome.
Nice.
How does Tulsa's big win over UCF impact both of these teams going forward?
Well, let's start with Tulsa, since the Hurricast was the one who asked the question. And look, they finally broke through that glass ceiling, right? We've seen Tulsa bang away and bang away. I don't want to use a Greg Schiano line, but they kept chopping wood, and finally it ended up going their way. So I think for Tulsa moving forward, they now know what they have to do to finish a football game, and that's going to pay dividends down the road. And then for UCF, look, if Cincinnati now holds serve, I mean, they're almost right now the winners of the American East already because of that. So what Tulsa did do was probably put the old stake in the heart of the UCF championship aspirations, which, look, if I'm Phil Montgomery in Tulsa, I'm saying, look, boys, here's what we did. We knocked those buggers out, for crying out loud. That's something that football teams that are building can really sink their teeth into.
Hey, speaking of championship aspirations, we have Todd Posey thinking ahead. He says, should we start printing the ECU Tulsa 2021 AAC Championship game t-shirts yet?
I got to tell you, I like it. I love the bravado. And look, ECU with Mike Houston. We've been talking about Mike Houston all year, Haley, that he'll eventually get ECU where they need to get to. And look, Tulsa, they're building, they're battling, they're competing. No reason to think they can't be in the mix 2 years from now.
From Dave Connell, forget the hate towards Memphis. Why do you hate Navy? This team is legit. Go Navy, beat Notre Dame. Andy, why do you hate so many teams?
Okay, so let me just ask Dave Connell, right? What have I said that would make you think I hate Navy? It was for 3 weeks on this show that I was talking about the Navy defense, okay? And you might be a honkopotamus for Navy. However, no one expected the Navy defense to play this well this year. And I think if you did the old, truth serum with Coach Niumalataloa, he would even say, hey, listen, defensively, we might have some issues. They've been great this year. I don't hate Navy. The problem is if I don't jump up on this table and start hucking donuts and screaming that Navy or your favorite team is going to win the conference championship, you think I hate them. I don't. They got a big one coming up against SMU to find a way to remain in that whole tiebreaker race in the West. Navy's done a great job this year, but it goes to show the depth in the American that they could be a 1 or a 2 loss team and not factor into the conference championship game. That's just stating the facts, not hating on him.
Take it easy on this guy. He has a good heart.
No, but I mean, good grief. So early in the year, it was some guy from Temple was going nuts until they gave up 50 on defense back to back, and that guy shut up. Now we got somebody yelling at me about Navy. The whole city of Memphis, minus Jerry Lawler, apparently hates me because I don't kiss their rear end enough. So Yeah, you can't win for losing. I guess it's just a part of the job.
Okay, moving on. David Went, what does Tulane need to do to go on the road and beat Temple?
Well, it really depends on what Temple defense kind of shows up. You know, there's a good Temple defense and a bad Temple defense. And I think the Temple defense will struggle against Tulane. Tulane's going to run the ball on them. I think Justin McMillan will be able to throw the ball complimentary enough. But will Temple really be able to slow down that run game? That's the hard thing in getting ready for Tulane, is that we know they can run the ball. The quarterback has the ability to run it as well. I think what Temple's got to do is produce some turnovers, and they got to make a big special teams play to be able to win that game. But for Tulsa, keep doing what you're doing. That's a really good team.
Yeah, and for Tulane and Temple, they both have 2 losses in conference play, so both of these teams fighting to stay alive.
Right. I said Tulsa, not Tulane. There you go. Right. Don't worry. Somebody will yell at me on the questions next week that I screwed up the T teams.
All right, from Joshua Evans, why is it when Memphis and SMU score 100 points, naysayers say bad defense, but Alabama and LSU put up a basketball score, they say great offense? What's up with that? Ease up on Memphis's defense.
You know what? He's not wrong, quite honestly. And Josh, I think what it is it's the perception of the leagues is really what it comes down to. You know, when you look at it in a in another Power 6 league that people have said, well, their hand is stamped, this is the greatest league ever, you're going to get those kinds of perceptions. Whereas when people look at the American, it's the whole, well, they must not be able to play defense. No. Memphis can line up and score pretty much with anybody in the country, and they may end up getting a chance to prove that. So I think it's all perspective. It's all the way the national media shapes it, and it's a really good observation. I think, Haley, I've even gotten to the point now to where if you're holding teams to 28 points per game and you can score, you're probably playing good enough defense to win 75% of your games now in college football. And back when I played in the 90s, it wasn't even close to that. If you were over 17 points a game, those defensive coaches were going nuts and screaming at you.
All right, your guy, Nicholas Milton.
McMill.
Tulane travels to Temple this weekend, and I'm curious, what is the biggest key matchup we should look out for? He's thinking it's Tulane's offense against Temple's defense.
Yeah, I completely agree with old Meek Mill here. And again, I like this Tulane offense. I like their diversity in running the football. And the one thing that I think that Willie Fritz has done is it's not just about one guy on their offense. And that's what's going to be tough for any team to be able to stop Tulane throughout the rest of the year. That said, I know that Tulane on the road, to me, like I wonder if weather would affect them, right? Because we know it's starting to get cold here in the Northeast. You're going to Philadelphia in November. If you get a day that's, say, 30 degrees and blustery, how will the dudes from New Orleans handle it? I think that might be one of the key factors in this one if you get a sideways weather day.
All right, last week's Adidas winner, it's the great Youngkin Charlie Brown. He says with 7 teams already bowl eligible and 2 still in the running, at the end of the season, how many American teams will we see playing in bowl games?
Wow, that's a great question because there is a part of me, Haley, that wonders if there's going to be there's going to be so many spots, right? If you're bowl eligible, you're gonna get picked to go to a bowl game. So, boy, the final number's tough because I'm trying to think of the schedule in my head, and now I ask me a question, I'm going to beat my head off the table.
You don't have all this memorized on the spot?
I mean, I go 7. Is that right? Does that make sense? 7 who would be able to go, and look, don't get me going on the bowl system, okay? Like seriously, I don't want to start cutting a promo on the whole bowl system, but I think we're going to have over half of FBS college football playing in bowl games this year. So it's great. It makes you feel good by the end of the year. And it's great for the American to be able to say that they'll have X amount of teams that are going to go to bowls. But when you're in, directional bowl X in early December, for me as an old football player, there's something to kind of, I don't know if I get hot and bothered for all of those bowls the way other people do.
Interesting, though. As a former player, would you rather go to a bowl, no matter which one is? Is that kind of a nice cap on the season?
It is, Haley, but to me, it's about the championship. That's what it's about. Because, look, to me, the most important bowl, there are really 2 of the most important games for the American Athletic Conference. One is the championship game, which you and I will be at, and then the American Conference champion making it to a New Year's Six bowl. Because it's nice to be able to say, look at all this depth. We went to all these bowl games. But if you're the team every year that is coming out of the supposed group of 5, not the P6, right? That's how everybody else terms it. As long as the conference champion in the American is making a New Year's Six bowl, that's the one that really matters, because ultimately it will raise the tide of the whole conference, and we've seen that the past couple of years.
All right, fun last question. This one comes from Juan Prado. So we're going to play a little game here, Andy.
Oh, boy.
Because there's nothing I love more than putting you on the spot.
Sure.
So we're going to do a little bit of rapid fire.
Okay.
So Juan wants to know if you could say one word about each team in the American, what would it be? So this is how it's going to go.
Okay.
I'm going to say the team name. We're going to go through all 12.
I'm going to try to keep it to one word.
One word. Juan wants one word. You give one word.
Okay.
All right?
All right, here we go.
We'll see how quick you can think on
I
your
know
feet.
I got to get to my adjectives and adverbs.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm good. Let's
All right.
go.
ECU.
Ascending.
Memphis.
Champs.
Navy.
Almost champs.
That's 2 words.
I know.
Already lost. Tulane.
Ascending.
Tulsa. You can't say ascending again.
I know, I can't. I'm running out of, so one word for Tulsa. Gritty.
USF.
Hope.
UCF.
Champs.
Houston.
Quarterback.
SMU.
Good quarterback.
Cincinnati.
Champs. I know that's 3.
3 people cannot win this
I
year's
know, I
championship.
know.
I would like to point that out.
I understand that.
UConn.
Bye.
Temple.
Special teams.
2 words.
Very hard to
Literally-
do just one word. That's really hard.
Is it though?
Yeah,
is it that hard?
Because I'm trying to live in the moment, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to give something that is current. And if I can't throw the word future in there because that, you know what I mean? So that was way tougher than I thought.
Way to go, Juan.
I tanked on that one, and that was good job,
You
Juan.
impress me most days, but that was rough.
That was tough.
That was rough.
It's tough.
That was tough.
Like, because, you don't want to mention like a player name, right? Yeah. And if I said ECU, when you asked me ECU, if I had said Houston for Mike Houston, people would have been like, why is this dummy talking about Houston when it's ECU? That's why one word is tough. Here you go, Juan. Resend it next week and give me the ability to roll out a phrase. And it'll be so much better, because doing one word is really tough.
Needy.
There you go.
One word.
Needy. Well, that's what we are with questions for this thing that we do. There we go.
All right. We'll give that another go here in the next couple of weeks, potentially.
That was a really good one, Juan. I got to tell you.
Yep. All right, so now the fun part of the show. So of these wonderful questions, we are excited to team up with Adidas each and every week now on the American Mailbag.
Still clean.
Yep,
still clean. Let me see if I can turn it. There you go. Awesome. Very
flexible.
Nice.
All right, so when you look back at these questions, which fan do you find deserving of a new pair of Adidas shoes?
I got to tell you, Juan almost won it by pretty much stumping me there, and I did a terrible job with the.
I've literally never seen you freeze up quite like that.
Yeah, well, because
at a loss for words, which is something we can never say.
I know, but
about this guy.
But again, it's like one word, and you got to like go through the whole vocabulary and try to figure something out, because
your new favorite word also might be ascending.
Ascending. Well, because I can't say on the rise. Like otherwise I would have been able to mix in some different phrases.
Okay, focus.
All right. Dave Connell is going to get it, because I love the fact. Oh, no, not Dave. I'm sorry.
Oh, just gave Dave false hope.
Oh,
boy.
No,
sorry,
that's
Dave.
the guy who told me I hate Navy. So you know what? The heck with him. So forget that. No, it's Todd Posey with the Should We Start Printing ECU Tulsa Championship Game T-shirts for 2021. I like that bravado. That was good. ECU ascending. Tulsa broke through the glass ceiling. See, I could have done both. But anyway. Todd, you end up getting the sneaks from Adidas. Congratulations.
Yeah, Todd gets the Adidas, and all we ask is that in 2021, maybe Todd can hook us up with some T-shirts if he's leading the charge for printing these.
I ain't saying nothing about Tulsa or barbecue or anything like that, because Lord knows nothing draws the ire of the American Digital Network fan base than to mention that, ooh, maybe they have some good barbecue in Tulsa, and then look out, here come all the foodies screaming at me like I hate their team and I hate their barbecue.
It's best for you to keep quiet. So really, we just need Juan to submit questions.
There you go, right?
Each and every week.
And we can blow through this quickly, and I look like a dope.
Exactly. So on that note, we thank all of you for tuning in to this week's American Mailbag. Join us on Thursday night for an all-new episode of the American Huddle as we look ahead to Saturday's games. Next week, use the hashtag AskAndyFB to submit your questions for our show. We'll see you then.